The package appeared sometime after midnight. She knew that because it wasn't there when she got home. But when she left for work the next morning, a small brown box was sitting outside her apartment door. At first, she didn't think much about it. Packages showed up all the time in her building. Sometimes neighbors grabbed the wrong one. Sometimes delivery drivers left them at the wrong door. It happened. But when she picked it up, something felt strange. The label had her apartment number, but the name wasn't hers. It was addressed to someone named Daniel Harper. She looked up and down the hallway. Quiet. No doors opening, no one nearby. She checked the other doors. Apartment 3A, 3B, 3C. None of those names matched either. Her apartment was 3D, and somehow the package had been left exactly there, right at her door. She turned the box over in her hands. No return address, just a plain shipping label. And one more detail that made her pause. The tape sealing the box looked newer than the label, like it had been opened once before, and sealed again. Her phone buzzed suddenly, a notification from her apartment building security app. Motion detected, hallway camera. Timestamp, 2:13 a.m. She hadn't even been awake at that time. She opened the clip. The hallway camera showed someone walking toward her door, but the person wasn't carrying a package. They were carrying something else, something long, something flat. And right before the video ended, they bent down in front of her door and placed the box there. She replayed the clip again and again. Something about it didn't make sense. The person in the video was wearing a hoodie, head down, face mostly hidden from the camera. But what stood out wasn't the hoodie, it was their hands. When they walked into the frame, they were clearly carrying something long and flat, almost like a thin folder or a laptop sleeve. Definitely not a box. But when they crouched down near her door, they suddenly placed a small package on the floor, a package that hadn't been visible when they first entered the hallway. She paused the video, zoomed in. The camera quality wasn't great, but the detail was still clear enough. The box appeared almost suddenly, like it had been taken out from under their jacket or from inside something they were carrying. Her stomach tightened. Why hide a package like that? Why deliver it in the middle of the night? And why leave it at her door with someone else's name? She looked back at the box in her hands. It was light, much lighter than it should be for its size. She shook it gently. No sound, no shifting inside, just silence. That somehow felt worse. Her phone buzzed again, another alert from the security app. This time, it wasn't a video. It was a live notification. Motion detected, hallway camera. Timestamp, now. She slowly turned toward her apartment door. The hallway on the other side was quiet, but according to the camera, someone was standing there. She froze. The notification stayed on her screen. Motion detected, hallway camera, right now. Which meant someone was outside her door at that exact moment. She slowly lowered the package onto the kitchen counter. Her apartment suddenly felt very quiet, too quiet. She walked toward the door carefully, trying not to make noise. The hallway camera was mounted at the far end of the corridor. Anyone standing close to her door wouldn't be clearly visible in the preview image. She opened the security app again. The live camera feed loaded slowly. One spinning circle, then another. Finally, the video appeared. The hallway lights were on. Empty. No one in sight. She stared at the screen, confused. The app still showed the alert. Motion detected. But the hallway looked completely normal. Then she noticed something small. At the very edge of the camera frame, right beside her apartment door, a shadow. Just the edge of a shoulder. Someone standing so close to the wall they were almost outside the camera's view. Waiting. Her throat tightened. They weren't leaving. They weren't knocking. They were just standing there, right outside her door. She stepped back quietly from the screen, heart pounding now. Her eyes moved slowly toward the package sitting on the counter. And that's when another thought hit her. If someone was still outside, then they probably knew the box had been delivered, and they were waiting for only one thing: for her to open it. She didn't move for a few seconds, just stood there staring at the door. The person outside hadn't knocked, hadn't spoken, hadn't left. They were just waiting. Her eyes slowly drifted back to the package on the counter. Small brown box, plain label, a name she didn't recognize: Daniel Harper. If someone was standing outside her door right now, watching, then this wasn't a delivery mistake. This was intentional. Her phone buzzed again. Another motion alert. She opened the camera feed carefully. This time, the hallway view showed something different. The person had shifted slightly, just enough for part of their arm to come into frame. Dark sleeve, gloved hand. And then, 3 slow knocks. Not loud, not aggressive, just 3 quiet taps on the door. She didn't answer, didn't move. Her heart was pounding now. The knocks didn't repeat. Instead, a voice spoke from the other side. Calm, almost casual. "Hey, wrong package." The voice paused, then continued. "You can just leave it outside." She stared at the box again. If it really was their package, they could have just taken it earlier. They had already been in the hallway at 2:13 a.m. Why leave it at her door in the first place? Why come back later? Something about it felt staged, like the package was never the point. Her phone screen lit up again. Another security notification. But this time, it wasn't the hallway camera. It was the door camera. She didn't even remember opening that camera feed before. Slowly, she tapped the alert. The image appeared. A close-up view of the person standing outside her door. Hood pulled low, face still mostly hidden, but one detail was clear. They weren't looking at the door. They were looking directly into the camera. She held her breath. The person outside the door didn't move. They were still staring straight into the camera, almost like they knew exactly where it was, almost like they were waiting for her to look. Her phone felt heavier in her hand. For a second, she considered speaking through the door, just saying the package wasn't hers, just sliding it back into the hallway. But something stopped her. If it really belonged to them, why deliver it at 2:13 in the morning? Why leave it at the wrong door? And why come back only after she had picked it up? Her eyes went back to the box again. Small, light, completely silent. She made a decision. Instead of touching the package again, she picked up her phone and opened the building management app. There was a feature most residents rarely used: security assistance. She tapped it. The request sent automatically to the front desk. Then she switched back to the door camera. The person was still standing there, but now they were shifting their weight slightly, like they were getting impatient. Another soft knock. "Just leave it outside," the voice said again, this time a little sharper. She stayed silent. A few seconds passed. Then something unexpected happened. The person stepped back from the door, far enough for the camera to catch more of their body, and for the first time, their face lifted slightly out of the shadow. Not enough to fully see them, but enough to notice one detail. They weren't looking at the door anymore. They were looking down the hallway, toward the elevator. Someone else had just arrived on the floor. The elevator doors opened at the end of the hallway. The sound echoed faintly through the corridor. The person outside her door noticed it immediately. Their head turned. Their posture changed. And for the first time since she'd been watching the camera, they stepped away from her door. A man in a building security jacket walked out of the elevator, calm, unhurried, just doing a routine check. The person by her door didn't wait to explain anything. They turned quickly and started walking down the hallway in the opposite direction, head low, hood still up. By the time the security guard looked down the corridor, they were already gone. The guard approached her door a moment later and knocked. "Building security?" he said. She opened the door slowly. The hallway looked normal again. Bright lights, quiet carpeted floor. Nothing suspicious anymore, except the package still sitting on her kitchen counter. She showed the guard the security clips, the late-night delivery, the person hiding near the wall, the moment they returned asking for the box. The guard listened carefully, then glanced toward the package. "You didn't open it, right?" he asked. She shook her head. He nodded. "Good." Carefully, he picked it up and turned it over in his hands. Then he pointed at something she hadn't noticed before, the shipping label, specifically the barcode. It wasn't a shipping barcode at all. It was a printed QR code, one that didn't belong to any shipping company. According to the guard, packages like that had shown up in other buildings recently, always addressed to random names, always delivered late at night, and always left at a specific door. Because the box itself wasn't the goal was the QR code. If someone scanned it out of curiosity, it opened a fake delivery website designed to steal personal information, addresses, phone numbers, payment details. And once someone interacted with it, the person who placed the box would come back later, pretending it was a mistake, pretending it was their package, just to confirm someone inside had scanned it. She looked at the box again, then at the hallway camera feed still open on her phone. The person who placed it had waited, right outside her door, just to see if she would open it. But she hadn't, and when security arrived, they disappeared. The guard took the package with him for a report. The hallway returned to its usual quiet. But that night, she learned something unsettling. Sometimes a package at your door isn't a delivery mistake. Sometimes it's just someone waiting to see if you're curious enough to open it.